If you work in some kind of corporate job, then there's always these tiny moments when you realize that the actual illusion just breaks. It usually happens on some kind of meeting on Teams, and let's say some kind of HR person says at the end of the whole call, remember, we're all family right here. We're not just colleagues. And everyone just nods their head on the camera, on the meeting, right? But deep down, every one of them knows it's a lot whole of bullshit. Just means nothing to them, really. Really think about it. Do you really think that your colleagues in your corporate job specifically even care about you? They're just there for a paycheck. They're just there to spend their lives looking at the monitors for 8 hours straight and optimizing their spreadsheets with numbers or something like that. I know some of you don't have the privilege to choose your profession, to choose your career sometimes. I know. I was at that place before. I also have corporate experience myself. So let me tell you a story. Before I started making YouTube videos, I actually worked at a game testing company. So it was basically a huge corporate job with an entry-level job, game testing, like I said. I'll not give you the name of the company because just to be respectful, but I'll have to be honest with you what I thought when I went there. So basically I worked at it for I think half a year to at least have some money before I start to grow my YouTube from just the ground up, right? And the thing which struck me the most, it was this fake positive attitude. And everyone there just knows that there's just a number on a spreadsheet in HR. So if they just get too expensive, then they get just an email like, thank you for working with us, but unfortunately you're fired. Of course, I don't know the lingo of the corporate world basically, but you know what I mean. So there's no such thing as a goodbye ceremony or like, yes, we value, but unfortunately, yeah, we have some constraints. I know that sometimes world shit happens, right? But I just personally, I just can't stand this eerie feeling that's always in the air in this concrete building. And also the people that went there, the colleagues that I had, they weren't bad people. I've made some friends along the way just to get along and not actually feel sometimes lonely in that 8 hours per day. But what I mean is that I couldn't stand the vibe that they went with. Just not to be disrespectful, but I'll be just completely honest with you. I felt like I'm somewhat better than them. Not because I earn more than them. Quite honestly not. I was quite detached from this work itself. I just knew that it was just means to the end, but it was time limited. I knew that I would not stick in that job, let's say even for a year. I just went there to get some money and then focus on my passion, which of course is sword fighting, but I'll get to that in a moment. And I just always felt that I was better than them. I know it, you may say I'm disrespectful. You say I'm mad. You can say I'm a bad human being. But quite honestly, I don't really care. What I mean actually is that everybody inside, including even management, I just looked at their faces. Management and just usual workers had different color of the cards. So at least I somewhat understood who's higher up, basically. And the management, I think it was they had the red cards, can't really remember. But they're all just unpassionate people all the way to the top, if you know what I mean. They didn't have anything else going for them, and they just went to this work to spend their precious time on this earth. It really struck me that this company or corporate world in general tries to give you these it tries to virtue signal basically. It creates these posters that we value your work, remember to focus on your mental health or something like that. And I know why are they doing that, because they want you to keep you as a cog in their huge machine. I know huge corporate facilities are like that, right? There's like, it's always a pyramid scheme in some sorts, right? But just the colleagues that I worked with, they were older than me, roughly by 10 years sometimes. And I'm 23 right now. Some of them were 30, like starting their 30, I think, maybe even older than that. And they just looked like they've spent their precious years there for, quite honestly, nothing. They grew actually nothing in their life. They spent time in that company, I know, for a paycheck, right? But nothing else. They didn't create anything new. They didn't create anything substantial in their life that is theirs. Like it's theirs to use, it's theirs to be proud of, basically, right? Because I know maybe it's just the type of the work that was there. So game testing, right? It's just this type of people that hadn't really any options left for a work. So they just stick to what they already knew. So gaming, right? So they went to 8 hours shift, which isn't, like, let's be completely honest, it's not just an 8 hour shift. You already know that, because it takes time to actually travel to your work and then come back, and also prepare before work and relax after the work. Sometimes you don't even need to work for 8 hours a day. Like, there is no such thing as working 8 hours a day. There is no such thing as having flow state for the entire 8 hours straight, because it's just not humane. Like, humans can work maybe 2 hours. I mean, the deep work stuff. Maybe sometimes maximum up to 4, like on the far side, like some of the guys that I know. It's just for the paycheck, and that, quite honestly, like, it gives off me a slave vibe. Like, they're just peasants. They can't really figure out why are they on this earth doing. Like, they're just surviving, and that's, quite honestly, a peasant mindset that I really wanted to avoid. I really wanted to run away from, and I still do, by creating these videos, creating something substantial, creating some kind of advice that could help you with sword fighting, right? So a story is that when I went to, for the first time, to my sparring classes, to the first training with longsword, of course, for the beginners, and I grabbed longsword for the first time, we went through the warm-up, we went through some kind of techniques breakdown, like basic stuff, like striking and how to defend. And at the moment when my opponent, my first ever opponent, even not in an active sparring, tried to hit me with intention, to my mask, of course. So maybe not that specific kind of mask, but you know what I mean, like defensive mask. And at that moment, or just right after that, when I got hit, when I should have parried the attack, I realized that today's world is based on, like, today's, at least, work culture is based on playing a role. It's you virtue signaling or work signaling, like showing through your spoken words that you've did something. Yes, you've did something for that factory. You've did something for that corporate job. You've did for the higher ups, and you're just constantly ass-licking them to, let's say, get a promotion in the next year or something, which is not correlated to the inflation, right? And at the moment when I got hit, I understood that sword fighting is, quite honestly, brutal, but it's also the most honest thing that I have experienced in my entire life. So sword fighting in particular, at least, this is where you, like, kill or you get killed. You hit or you get hit. There's no in between. There's no acting along the way. Of course, you should act in a way to exploit your opponent with some kind of feint, to bait him out, to attack you, or to exploit his lack of awareness. So yes, that's there, but that's quite honestly real, because you don't need to act always. You're not always under the pressure, like the constant low pressure of that there's always someone watching you inside of the concrete building with unpassionate colleagues that don't have anything else going for themselves in their private lives. They only just have this work, basically, which is it's just inhumane to me. In sword fighting, there's no fake HR smiling to you, like this. Yes, we will fire you. No, no, not like that. There are real emotions. There is real movement with sword fighting. You're really actually trying to achieve something with your own body, just like humans were designed to do, like through the evolution, I mean, right? We are designed to move. We are designed to laugh. We are designed to feel deeper emotions, like crying, like sometimes even feeling sad for quite short time, but like very deeply, and then recovering from it. Instead of just feeling that we have to always act in a certain way, to act like we're indifferent, like we're detached, but actually we're attached to this corporate work. We are attached to licking our boss ass to get a promotion. We are attached to all of these fake things that we are not meant to really do. So coming back to my colleagues that I try to speak with, they were nice people. They were nice people, right? And they, let's say, they wanted to work for money, which isn't bad, like I said. But like at least half of them, or even more than a half, I can imagine that that their life looked like this. They had to wake up, they had to prepare themselves, they had to drive, so commute to their work at least for an hour, and also getting packed inside of the bus when everyone's going to their work, then staying there in a work for 8 hours straight, and then coming back, commuting back, also tied in a bus, commuting and then relaxing after the whole day, because you can't really cope through another things. They just came back to their video games to cope. And this is a very sad existence. I know that we're getting into very deep stuff. That's why I wanted to tell you this through my video, because it's quite honestly very saddening to me. Even though in our modern world we have everything that could help us out with feeling comfortable, like our lives are pretty much comfortable right now, right? But also we have these problems that no one really wants to tackle for real, like loneliness or lack of passion, because you are where you work at, if you know what I mean. Like the first thing that new people ask you when they get to meet you for the first time, the first thing that they're asking you what you're doing for work, where are you working, and then it's your like flag that people pinpoint. Okay, let's say he's a taxi driver, he's a bus driver, yes, nothing more. Like we have to at least try to change this fake view on our existence, on who we are as a in our profession, on like what's the real value of our being. And sword fighting is quite honestly one of these things that for the first time in my life, at least, I made a aware decision on that I want to do that instead of just working or instead of just training for something. So I wanted to train with sword in longsword, with longsword specifically, because quite honestly, it was always interesting to me to explore it myself instead of just watching sword content YouTube or watching countless movies and playing video games, instead of just doing it myself. So I made a decision that I want to do it myself. And like I said, sword fighting, it's rewarding and it's punishing at the same time, just like life should be. There is only you hit your opponent, or you get hit, or you get just doubled, sort of. And that's that. There is no other rules to follow. There is no extra things to do. Of course, there is a sword fighting etiquette that you have to remember about to actually not hurt your opponent, but the goal is to win in the most respectful way, of course, and not by just throwing your weapon at your opponent, right? I mean, you can do in real life if that would be Mortal Kombat. And also I want to tackle this IE loophole that corporate entry jobs are getting replaced by IE. So these people, these unpassionate people who are trying their best to survive on this paycheck, just survive, just to cope through their video games, they are getting replaced. So IE doesn't need motivational speeches. It doesn't need lots of training. It just needs a perfect prompt to follow. And it can organize it itself. You just give it a command. So in the moment when the company needs to just cut costs, it chooses IE to replace you, because IE doesn't get tired. It doesn't need coffee machine. It doesn't need food. It doesn't need lunches. It doesn't need lunch break also. It just needs to be there. But what's left for this kind of people? And the worst part is that AI looks like it produces something intelligent, like it can optimize it itself, but it's just repeating the same things said many countless times through humans. So basically it actually gets prompt into making a lot of generalizations, which are basically mistakes, because AI, at least for now, isn't very good at nuance. Like, the thing about the AI right now, it's the worst that it is. The worst it could be right now, AI. Later on, let's say after 5 years even, AI, the rise of AI could replace a lot of corporate jobs. So what I'm actually getting to is that sword fighting is the real antidote to this sort of work culture where fake positivity exists, where just everyone is layered with this fake acting to feel somewhat productive, to feel like a real human being by getting money. But we're not really designed to live like that. So sword fighting is one of these quite honest, brutal things that remind us that in real life, you can actually be good at something practical. Like, I know that sword fighting is very romanticized through media, through movies, through anime, through gaming. I know that it should look cool because when someone plays these video games or watches movies, he wants to just turn off his brain for a moment to relax after corporate work, right? But the real thing about the real sword fighting practice is that it nourishes our brain, it nourishes our mind, and it nourishes our movement, our body. So you can train both of these things along the way and actually get good at it. The thing about me when I started out sword fighting is that I fell in love with it so much that even though at the beginning I was sucking ass so much, like I was getting hit so many times, but the one mindset trick that was always inside of my head, even when I had the worst sparring day ever, even when I lost nearly against everyone, the one thing that I always choose to stick with is that if I just stick to doing that, eventually I'll become a master swordsman. Eventually I'll start to win against other opponents. Eventually I'll start to become better and better through my progress, through my constant sustainable progress, through my constant training, through my constant failing at it, one step at a time, and actually rediscovering myself through the sword. Because the sword, like I said many times, the sword is just an extension of yourself. It's just you having the will over what's surrounding you in your real life. You don't really need to pretend in sword fighting. What actually matters in sword fighting is your movement, your tactical skills, your battle IQ, like some of you call it. your footwork, your actual blade work, your intention to hit your opponent, your righteous way of trying to get the initiative to attack your opponent before he decides to attack back. Also, doing these mind games against your opponents, but it's so much more rewarding because you get to actually progress. You get to feel the fulfillment. Even though, in my case, I will probably not be ranked, like top one ranked HEMAist in the HEMA scoreboard, but at least I will try my best. And because like doing the thing, like actually practicing sword fighting, even with the basic gear, with the basic shit, makes me so much more happier than just sticking in front of the monitor, trying to look like I'm working on something. Like sword fighting is so much simpler for our brain to understand, for our brain to even relax, even though we're actually moving our sword and we need that intention to move our body as well in the way that we want to. In sword fighting, there is no corporate lingo, there is no corporate jargon in a way. You either get hit or you block it. You either intentionally strike your opponent or you don't. There is no in between. And that's why all the noise disappears in this flow state. Because you, as a human being, you need to actually focus on what's inside of the sword fight to win the exchange instead of just losing it. Because if you think about something else, what's in the far future, you will not win. Like in sword fighting in particular, you think that you have time to think about stuff. You think that you have the time to think about how to block. No, you either do it or you don't. So there's no fake enthusiasm through emails, through your co-workers, through your management. Like the meaningless office rituals that, okay, now at 12 a.m. at lunchtime, we're going to the coffee machine for the shitty coffee that it gives you for free. Because a worker who has coffee could get more done by the day than without it. So that's why they give you that shitty coffee. Like, there's no fake things along the way. In sword fighting, I mean, right? It's all meaningless. You either adapt or you die. You either know how to fight or you don't. But even if you don't know how to do it, if you're just a beginner, if you're just a newcomer, if you like to do it, if you'd like to get better at it, then you just stick to that. You just repeat it thousands of times. Of course, with bad habits along the way, with mistakes along the way. But you just do it. You just stick to it. Even with the countless dips with motivation. Sometimes you just don't feel to train longsword. But it's nourishing. It's very, very nourishing. You just have to, like, believe me. Because everything that exists in sword fighting, everything that actually matters is your timing, your distance management, so measure, your focus, your footwork. Everything else just disappears. There's no noise. Corporate environment rewards performance. It rewards you signaling you working very great, like you getting stuff done. But in sword fighting, it doesn't really matter along the way until you start to do it properly. So there is no such thing as looking busy, like sounding that you're done so much work through the day, but actually all you did is just point and click in your monitor and you've optimized the spreadsheet or some other bullshit task. You can't fake sword fighting. You also can't fake, let's say, rock climbing. You can't fake windsurfing. You can't fake even football skills. So instead of just being a spectator in your life, instead of just performing in your work life, you could actually be someone. I mean, you are someone. You already are. You don't need to be someone greater, but you can actually do something real with your life, if you know what I mean. That's incredibly freeing in a sense, because you can't fake doing something real with your hands. You actually building something in real life through your skills, like building your skills, practical skills, or you actually wood cutting or something, I don't know. With time you just get better at this stuff naturally. So the real tragedy of the modern work culture is that people aren't lazy. They're not. They're really not. They're not bad people, but they are trapped inside of this system that exploits them. They're trapped in this system that suck off their passion for life, for growth, for building real skill out of them through this constant working, which isn't even working. People actually start to forget that they can do something real with their hands in their life, growing something. And that's why sword fighting in particular, for me, feels like a rebellion. It feels like freeing myself from this constant ear, like this constant little pressure that's always pushing you down, like crabs in a bucket. Like you can't really be different from others inside of the workplace because you'll be just put down or even fired. Sword fighting is a rebellion for me, not because it represents real violence. I mean, it does, right? Like we're practicing that was meant to kill someone in previous times, right? But because it brought me back to reality. It showed me once again that you can surely, but slowly of course, train your real skills with something real, even simple as a sword, without any fake smiles, without any fake office rituals, without any fake HR smiling at you like this. There's no pretending in sword fighting. There is just two humans actually exploring and finding out what works in a sword fighting practice to win against other opponent. Just two humans doing something very real. And in my honest opinion, it's even more valuable than you slaving away in some kind of corporate trap, like in some kind of concrete trap, 8 hours a day, which isn't realistically 8 hours a day. It's more than that. So if corporate life feels like a strange theater or performative work or fake productivity, then maybe it's time to stop looking for answers in our corporate jobs, in other careers. You have to start to rediscover yourself through something real, through something which humans are made to do, to create, to feel like a creator rather than a consumer. And you watching this video right now, you're a consumer, you just have to be honest. And all of the other videos that are on the sidebar on YouTube, right? Those are just videos for you to consume. So instead of that, maybe just try to grab a longsword or a wooden stick or a broomstick even, and try to swing it around, even for 10 minutes a day. Like that's the mindset that I want you to upload inside of your brain from my brain. And yeah, if you need any help along the way with sword fighting, if you just want to get away from this corporate bullshit and get my help with sword fighting, then check out the link in the description, which is my free school community. If you join it right now, there is 100% chance that I will reach out to you inside of this community and try to help you out with your sword fighting training. Yep, that's all. And remember, always take the initiative.